All right, my friends, it's Donnie.
And Sandra.
And we are once again on a road trip. This is a long one. This is going to be a 10-day road trip. And we are going to be exploring 4 brand new counties on this trip. We're actually going to be at 5 counties on this trip, but 4 of them are new. One of them is an annual trip. And but we are in Scotland County, and we are at Cypress Bend Vineyards. We are boondocking. It's a Harvest Host location, so any of you RVers out there that are in the area, coming through the area, and would like a really nice place to stay, this is going to be a good one for you. Easy in, easy out, plenty of room. They could have a whole band of RVers in this place, easily fit these places. You know, they have lots of parking areas, not just one particular area like sometimes we see in Harvest Host, but they've got lots of areas out here, guys. Multiple parking areas.
You get to choose.
Yeah, and you could choose whichever one you want. And so we are next to a pond, and we're all by ourselves out here. There is no other RVers, and they lock the gate at 5 p.m. and the gate will not be open until in the morning. And so but we are absolutely loving this. It's going to be a chilly week, and but be looking out for the fun facts and the site review. For those of you that are interested, look for the site review and check this place out. You will not be disappointed. But now in this county, I found numerous ghost stories. None of them are really long. I have one that's a little longer than the other ones, but I thought, let's go ahead and put them in a complication. I didn't want to make it complicated, so I decided to put it in a compilation. And so this is going to be, some of them are going to be shorter than the other ones, but these are just numerous ghost stories for Scotland County. So, Sandra, are you ready?
I am ready, Donnie.
All right, here we go. Now, the first one. Now, I got these ghost stories from 3 different sources. The Laurenburg Exchange had two articles about ghost stories for Scotland County, and then the Scotland Bagpipe, and they had an article called Scary Sights of Scotland County. Scary Sights of Scotland County. The Laurenburg Exchange had area ghost stories plentiful and haunted and spooky. Those were the 2 different articles that I got for that one. And so you guys, if you guys want to check that out, check out these places. Like I said, the Laurenburg Exchange and Scotland Bagpipe. And so, you know, these are the articles for the area. Now, the first one is going to be the haunting of Laurel Hill Presbyterian Church, Mance, I should say. It's M-A-N-S-E. Now, a church manse is a house or property that a church provides for its clergy, a parsonage.
Okay.
A parsonage. It's just another word for that. And so it's also called, instead of a parsonage, a rectory. I'm gonna try this. A vicarage. It's a vicarage.
I think so.
Probably. I think you're right. Vicarage.
Because sometimes they call a priest or whatever a vicar.
Okay. You know, I think I remember hearing that before. And a clergy house. And so there you go, guys. You learned the background on the words. And so it's kind of wild because the word is spelled M-A-N-S-E. And I was like, how in the Manse or something? But actually, it's pronounced Mans, like M-A-N-S, Mans. I looked it up, and that's why they had it pronounced. But anyway, it is said that during the 1960s, when Minister A.C. Tribbitt, the pastor of Old Laurel Hill Presbyterian, lived there, the tormented spirit of a former pastor who mysteriously passed away could be heard walking up and down the stairs, according to Philip McCrae, an elder at Old Laurel Hill Presbyterian. Supposedly, you could hear someone walking up and down the staircase in this house, said McCrae, who also serves as the county clerk of court. The manse was built around 1910 and was moved a couple decades ago to another property. It is unknown if the spirit moved with the manse to its new location. However, during the 1970s, Pastor John Miller, the successor to Tribbett, had no reports of hearing the spirit walking up and down the stairs, or at least none he reported, McCrae said. And that is all I have for the haunting of Old Laurel Hill Presbyterian Church manse. That's it. That's the first ghost story. Second one. Now, this is interesting because we have one in Rowan County. At least I think this is in Rowan County. If not, it's just on the outskirts of it. Gravity Hill.
Oh, yeah. We've been to Gravity Hill.
Gravity Hill. Now, what's really wild is I want you to listen to the story. It's very short, short. But I want you to listen to the story and how it matches as far as what you can do at this location. And I don't know if does every county have a Gravity Hill or not, but listen to this. Gravity Hill is another tale that local residents like to tell. The hill is located on Stewartsville Cemetery Road and Old Maxton Road. As the story goes, a mother and young daughter and their pet dog were driving on Old Maxton Road. They were killed when her car stalled and was struck by a semi-truck after rolling past the stop sign on Stewartsville Road and Old Maxton Road. Another version says that the mother quickly got out of the car and attempted to push the car up the hill and out of the intersection. As she reached the top, a truck sped along the dark street with no time to brake properly. The speeding truck struck the car, hitting both the mother and the child. Both died instantly. It is said that if you put your car in neutral and roll past the stop sign, the mother's spirit will push you back up the hill. Others say if you put baby powder, if you put baby powder on the hood of your car, handprints of the mother will appear. For Cliff Sessoms, a lifelong Laurinburg resident, the story of Gravity Hill is all too familiar. He says, I have gone and put my car in neutral and seen it roll back up the hill, said Sessoms, the Laurinburg Police Department Assistant Chief. He also mentioned the possibility of Gravity Hill being an optical illusion. And so,
that's what they say it is.
Yeah, that's the end of the story there. But Rowan County, is that in Rowan County?
Pretty sure it is.
I mean, if
not, it's
I'm thinking, I mean, it's way out in the sticks.
Yeah, it's
in Rowan County.
Way down. Is it Bringle Ferry Road?
I can't remember, but I know it's way out there. I mean, you're way out there in the sticks, but
it's past Gold Hill, so maybe isn't it past Gold Hill?
I want to say it's somewhere in that general area, but it's pretty much the same flavor.
Yeah, it is.
But it looks like you're rolling uphill.
Yes.
I think it's an optical illusion is all that is.
We took our daughter not long ago. She'd never been there before, and we've been a few times.
Yeah, it's spooky. I mean, I will say that.
It is spooky.
It's especially at nighttime, you know, but it's kind of wild that when I read this, I'm going, did they mistakenly put Rowan County?
The same thing, except
I don't know the background.
I don't know if our background has a dog in it or not, but basically it's a mother and child.
Oh, is
she's
it?
Trying to save.
Is it?
Yeah, she's trying to save. And the baby powder thing is the same.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Now, the next one. This is the longest one of the bunch that I have. It's called the Stewartsville Cemetery. The Stewartsville Cemetery. Now, the Stewartsville Cemetery is mentioned in Gravity Hill. So, it's close by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close by it. So the Stewartsville Cemetery, now get this. This one is wild. This one is wild. It says, another haunted location just 4 miles from the hill, Gravity Hill. Mm-hmm. The Stewartsville Cemetery, by 2020, there were 288 grave markers on 8 acres. Gravestones are cracked, weathered, and vandalized. The trees have shed most of their leaves. Branches and large limbs lay under the trees from which they have fallen. In the daylight hours, the atmosphere is empty, still, and even serene. For years, Stewartsville lay neglected, its tombstones covered with vines. That must have been quite a sight. You can imagine tombstones with a bunch of vines all over them. Its graves overrun with debris, with only the handsome grove of oaks to mark its territory. Burials had become so frequent at one time that it was difficult to tell where many were buried. I guess they just pick a clear spot and bury them. Mm-hmm. Shrubbery had almost taken over, and it was soon cut away. In 1913, Stewartsville was restored by those who wished to preserve its sacred associations. That must have been one weird-looking graveyard. So, I mean, when I was just going through the descriptions on how it was just laid desolate, everything grown over, debris laying everywhere. I mean, that must have looked creepy as all get out.
That's sad, though.
It is sad. It is sad. But going on, it says the site is said to have been started during the Revolutionary War, and legend has it that the first burial occurred when the pallbearers carrying a dead patriot decided they'd walk far enough, and that this particular patch of cedar trees hung with Spanish moss would suit just fine. Another source said that in 1785, a Revolutionary War soldier with the surname Stewart was the first to be buried in the cemetery. After Stewart was fatally wounded, the funeral party which carried the soldier could not find sufficient burying ground. After searching for miles, the party stopped to rest at what is now known as Stewartsville Cemetery. While resting, it was suggested that this quiet, peaceful place would be ideal as a final resting ground for Stewart. The party agreed, and the grave was dug and marked with a pine plank. Stewartsville Cemetery did not introduce stone grave markers until the late 1800s. Grave markers were made of cedar, cypress, or longleaf heart pine, all durable woods. According to Beachman McDougald, a local historian, a fire burned all of the wooden markers, leaving unidentifiable graves.
Aww.
So they didn't know where anybody was buried out there. Many of those buried are unable to be located for a number of reasons. In 1960, a genealogist named Isaac S. London of Rockingham made an effort to record and map the information of the gravestones in Stewartsville Cemetery. Until August of this year, this was the last and seemingly only attempt to document those who were buried in the cemetery. Bill Caudill, historian, folklorist, and bagpipe instructor — you got to have a bagpipe instructor in Scotland County — at St. Andrews University, spoke passionately about the history of Stewartsville Cemetery. He says, "I think that one of the most interesting things is the information contained on some of the stones. In some cases, not only recording birth and death dates, but the year in which they immigrated from Scotland, as well as specific places." Caudill said, "Obviously, these people wanted future visitors to know who they were and where exactly they were from, with a sense of having died in one place but yet belonging, a Scottish euphemism, to somewhere else." Immigrated to Scotland County at a time when citizens were being persecuted on account of their religious faith. Many of the Scottish came over to the New World in search of liberty and peace. Caudill's son, Daniel's Eagle Scout, project was creating a catalog of map of the graves at Stewartsville Cemetery. Since the last effort to catalog graves in 1960, a lot of the markers were illegible or broken, with some of them sinking into the ground and disappearing beneath the surface. Now that's weird. Daniel and others were able to unearth some of these graves from the ground to transcribe the names and dates for the catalog for the first time. The cemetery was also figures in the story of Colin Lindsay, Reverend Colin Lindsay, supposedly a troubled man. Now get this. This is one story that it's just strange, but I've heard of things like this happening back in those days, and you'll understand when I get to them. No details are given in why what was struggling, but I personally think he struggled with the story I'm about to tell you. He was a Scottish immigrant who was the son of a woman buried alive. Sometime around 1740, Mother Lindsay took so ill and lapsed into near death so convincingly that her Scottish clan threw a raucous wake around her body and buried it with a family vault. Not long after, a trio of grave robbers pried loose the coffin lid and tried to saw off her ring finger, to collect the jewelry. Before they could cut through the bone, supposedly the dead woman woke up and sent the thieves scattering into the night. I can only imagine.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine with your finger? I mean, I don't know how far. They said before they could cut through the bone. So I'm assuming they made it to her bone. Oh gosh. And so, at any rate, thus revived, Mother Lindsay went back about the business of her life, birthing little Colin, the boy whose mother knew the darkness of the grave. Later in life, Lindsay would tell the stories about his mother and her premature burial. Lindsay died in 1817. Supposedly, it is illegal to go there at night at the gravesite, Stewartsville. And if you go there at night and sit in the cemetery, you will see ghosts walking around and trying to get out of the fence. And so that is the story of the Stewartsville.
I was wondering where you were going to get to the ghost story part of it.
Cemetery.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, that's just the background on it. All right.
My goodness, I can't imagine. How long was she in the...
I don't know. I don't know. She was long
in a
enough.
Vault. She wasn't in the ground.
Yeah, she wasn't in the. She was in a vault.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna get buried alive, that's the way to get.
If I would rather be buried in a vault, I wouldn't be buried alive. Period. But still, I think a vault would be better than under the ground.
Yeah.
St. Andrew. Okay, the next one. Now I got two left. And these are both short. St. Andrews University Morgan Jones Science Building. Ghosts, or at least rumors of ghosts, have also been reported at the St. Andrews University Morgan Jones Science Building. As the story goes, a former SAU security officer was locking the doors of the building and saw a man, and she saw a man in a three-piece suit moving through the science labs on the second floor. When she described the figure, one thing stuck out. Apparently, whatever or whoever it was in the science building did not have feet. That's what it said, did not have feet. She has led students who have heard the tale to assume it was a ghost floating through the building. She said, I have heard the story I think it might be the author. I have heard the story in 2013, and ever since I got an eerie feeling when I am near the science building at night. The hairs on the back of your neck raise when you are walking around Morgan Jones. I felt like I had to keep looking behind me, said Russell Lindsay, a St. Andrews University grad student. Okay, that was a student that was saying that. All right, last one. Crybaby Bridge. Crybaby Bridge. Yep, Crybaby Bridge.
Crybaby Lane?
I know. What was it? Crybaby
Lane.
Is it Crybaby Lane? That was
in
what county?
Not Durham County. One next to Durham County.
Oh,
it was in Wake County.
Was it Wake? Yeah, I think it was in Wake County. Yeah, Crybaby Lane. If you guys haven't heard about that one, watch that video. Very sad, but real spooky. But anyway, this one's called Crybaby Bridge. This is the shortest one out of all of the ghost stories. Crybaby Bridge is a bridge where a mother was so unprepared to be a parent, she threw her infant baby over the bridge into the water, leaving her to drown. The mother then jumped herself. It is said that if you park your car on the bridge at night and sit in complete silence, that you can hear the baby crying right before it drowns. Sophomore Timont Gibson said, "Yeah, I did Crybaby Bridge. When asked if he believed in ghosts and if it really works, he said, I guess you could say that, and yeah, it worked. I was scared as crap."
End quote.
End quote. And so, guys, that is all the ghost stories that I have for Scotland County. If you want to check out all the other ones that we've done up to this point, just go to our playlist, Ghost Stories and Urban Legends, in our playlist, and you will see all the ones that we've done. And again, if we can find a ghost story in the counties that we visit, we will share those with you. But other than that, guys, we are going to call it a night. You guys take care. We love you and have a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.